Hi everybody, welcome back to Media Unlocked's audio series. Today we're going to talk about cables. A little bit boring subject, but it's something that we need to know. So this is short and sweet, but I want to go over each individual cable that you're going to run into, the ends, where you're going to use them, which ones to use, which ones to avoid. So one of the most common cables that people are used to is the RCA jack. That's this cable right here, and it has a sleeve and a pin. This is common in stereo equipment at home, and the receiving jack that you'll see is typically these. It's an RCA jack. It's consumer grade. It is unbalanced. We'll learn about that in a second, what that means. And it is, cables like this are short run cables. Anything over a foot, 2 foot, 3 foot, you start losing audio signal and gaining noise. So it's very, very difficult to run a cable like this with these basically unbalanced from one end of a building to another without having a lot of audio problems. On a set, you have lights, you have all kinds of power cables running on the floor. There's all kinds of lights overhead. There's all kinds of radio frequency interference, and an unbalanced cable such as this is real susceptible to RF hum and noise. So you want to try to avoid using these cables whenever possible. It's better in short segments, a foot, 2 foot, 3 foot. The next kind of cable and connector you're going to run across is maybe something like this. I have a little mini 1/8 inch on this end, and I have a 1/4 inch on this end, normally known as a phone plug. The mini 1/8 inch is similar to what you'd find on an iPod. It's also what you'd find on a DSLR input. So most of you are shooting on that. This again is a smaller cable meant for short runs, and this one right here has 3 connectors on it. It has a tip, ring, and sleeve, and it can be configured a couple ways. In a stereo configuration, this could be the left channel, that could be the right channel, and this could be the common or the ground, and it would be an unbalanced connection. If this is a balanced connection that you want, such as a mono signal, this would be the tip, ring, and sleeve. This would be the positive, this would be the negative, and that would be a shield. And on the other end, you would have a similar configuration for a 1/4 inch, where we have a tip, ring, sleeve. So it would be more of an adapter. This particular one that I grabbed has an unbalanced on this end. It just has a tip and a sleeve. So this entire cable is unbalanced, very similar to the RCA cable that we had. So they're built for short runs and emergency situations when you have to adapt one source to something else. Let's go back to this one. The 1/4 inch, there's a lot of good things going on with this one. Of course, this could be used as a stereo plug, a left, right, and a common, but we use it as a balanced. Now the balanced versus unbalanced, it has the signal goes down this tip and it returns on here, or it's the neutral. And then this is, the shield is basically a like a coaxial shield or a separate wire that is run along with it to shield the audio signal from radio frequency interference, from noise. It is imperative in professional audio applications. We use these in patch bays. We use them in the back of audio equipment. You can adapt a microphone to this. You can use in a variety of situations. This particular recorder I have has 1/4 inch inputs on this end, so if I wanted to have a microphone to plug in, I would have this on one end and plug it in here, and then have a microphone on the other end with a different kind of connector, which we'll see in a minute. The problem with these kind of connectors, and you'll see here, is I can easily pull it out. So if it's strained, if it's hanging like that, and someone comes along and it comes right out. There is no type of lock mechanism on it. That goes with any of the previous connectors that I did. The other thing you'll notice is the high quality cable. This particular cable, I don't know, it says Horizon Professional. I don't know who makes that, Horizon, but there's a lot of good cable companies out there. Canary, Megami are probably the premium ones, but anything from Shure, Carroll, West Penn, anything like that is always really good. But this one is designed for use in the field. It's very flexible. It's got a rubber jacket. The shield that goes around is braided, so it allows constant movement. This might last, several years of field use, or it might last a year, depending on how heavily it's used. But something like this is just very temporary. We might use this kind of cabling behind a piece of equipment that doesn't get moved because the constant flexing back and forth, this could probably only take about 10% of what this could. So always choose good cables. The next in line is the XLR. This particular adapter I have adapts a 1/4 inch unbalanced to an XLR balanced. And it's still an unbalanced signal because it's only 2 connectors on that side. But the XLR is the most common thing you would find on a microphone, but we also use it for line level, that is things coming out of recorders and into recorders. So it has 3 pins. It's very, very, very similar to the balanced connection here. Tip ring sleeve is positive, neutral, and shield. The same thing here, you've got positive, neutral, and shield. This happens to be a male connector. Here you see a female connector with it. So usually the female is the source and the male goes into the recorder, or the input of whatever you're trying to do, a camera, recorder, a mixing board, anything like that. So we have a device here that we would use this for. This is an H4n zoom, and if we're plugging in a microphone, that would simply go in there, and then this will be plugged into a microphone on the other end. The last cable I want to show you, this is a cable that would connect between a mixer and your recorder, such as a camera or a separate recorder. And it's a special one, it's a breakaway cable. This is something that would be out of the price range of a lot of low budget films, but you would be able to rent this as a package. So we've got 2 connectors running in 1 cable. Actually, we have 3, I lied. We have a headphone return, and then we have a left and a right. So if I were running a boom and a lav, I would put boom on one channel and lav on the other and plug this in. Now the wonderful thing about this, the breakaway section is right here. So there's a very short end that I would plug into the camera, and once I got set, I could pull this out and walk away with the mixer while the camera got set for the next shot. For instance, I'll show you exactly that. When you're using this breakaway cable, for instance, if you're plugging into a camera, you have your XLR inputs here. So we try to go by codes so that each end is marked red and blue, and I always say right red, so I remember. And then the blue goes in that channel. And then this would plug in the headphone jack, and the camera operator would plug their headphones into here. It's basically a pigtail. On the other end, I would plug this into a mixer output, and using right red, and then my monitor in, and that allows the mixer operator to hear the audio coming from the camera just to make sure that it is indeed going there. So let's say that you've got the camera set up on sticks, and I always wrap this around the handle so that it doesn't go anywhere. You've shot your scene. You're going to move the camera to get another angle. You just pull that out, let the camera get set, move the lights, do whatever you want, and then you come back in. That way you don't disturb the camera. So it's a wonderful little tool to have. Now there's a nice feature about XLRs. I can pull on that and it does not come out. There's a lock right there. So we just pull that, push that in, pull it out, and then we're disconnected. On this end, it's a different type of lock. If I turn it upside down, you see the lock is on the actual cable itself. So you push it in and then you pull out. Otherwise, it does not come out. But notice how easily the little 1/8 inch comes out. This is the problem that we have on sets where we have non-professional audio connections. These will rock back and forth in the connector. So if the pins in there are slightly off, you are disconnecting it. With XLRs, it's a solid connection. You can see how long these pins are, and they go in a cylinder on the other end. It's very, very hard to have problems with these, only on old ones or ones that are corroded. That's about it on cables. We'll learn more as we get into mixers, and then when we do our actual on location, we will talk more about them. But they are so important that they can sometimes be the lifeline and the disconnect if you don't have them set up right. So tune in next time.